I've designated this chapter of my book to photographs of any type of electrical multiple unit, EMU, diesel electric multiple unit, DEMU, or diesel or electro-diesel locomotive that I've seen in my early life as a train spotter and in my days of working on the railway that especially appealed to me. The first shows two different types of electric locomotives that I saw at Battersea Wharf in October 1960 when I was travelling from Victoria to Clapham Junction after seeing the Golden Arrow leave Victoria, in those days steam hauled by a gleaming bullied Pacific or BR Standard Class 7 Britannia locomotive. I remember telling my school chums that I'd seen a blue electric locomotive with pantograph in the sidings at Battersea, and they wouldn't believe me. It wasn't until recently that I found out that E3056, the first of the AL5 class, was indeed at Battersea Wharf, standing alongside HA class E5022 at an exhibition between the 3rd and the 6th of October 1960. At the time, the British Transport Commission, BTC, in association with the British Electrical and Allied Manufacturers Association and the Locomotive and Allied Manufacturers Association of Great Britain, was staging an electrification conference at Battersea. Number E5022 was bound for the southern region, and number E3056 was destined for the LMR's newly electrified WCML service, both locomotives being products of Doncaster Works. E5022 had 2,700 horsepower, which packed quite a punch for a small Bobo locomotive, and proved useful in both theatres of heavy freight and express passenger work. LMS English Electric 1,600 horsepower Coco diesel electric number 10,001 first spotted with sister locomotive number 10,000 at Willesden in 1959. These were the first mainline diesel locomotives in Great Britain. They were built by the London Midland and Scottish Railway at its Derby works in association with English Electric and the Vulcan Foundry, with whom the LMS had had a long working relationship. Here we've got a super photograph of a warship class number D822 Hercules as it heads through Woking with the Down Atlantic Coast Express, the ACE, on Sunday the 9th of July 1967. This, of course, was the final day of steam on the southern region. With the P&O Oriana in the background, a boat train heads out of Southampton Old Docks bound for Waterloo, headed by Class 74 electro diesel 74007 in May 1975. Oriana held the Golden Cockerel Trophy for the fastest ship in the P&O fleet until she retired in 1986, when it was handed over to the Canberra. Forset 2317 leads the 1223 Waterloo to Portsmouth Harbour service through a rain-lashed Warbleston station on the 13th of December 2003. Being the station nearest to my home, I couldn't resist adding this photograph. Whoops! This slippery mishap between a post office vehicle and a 350 shunter at Woking Dock could have been a lot worse had the shunting locomotive not have been there. Taking centre stage is DP1, the Deltic prototype at the NRM Shildon. The Deltic prototype was built by the English Electric Company in Preston in 1955. The two 18-cylinder two-stroke engines that powered the Deltic began life as marine engines for naval patrol boats. This photo shows Deltic number D9000, Royal Scots Grey, at Woking Yard at a static display in May 1988 as part of the Woking 150 event. Viewed from Ferry Lane Bridge near Guildford, 4 sub 4106 heads towards Farncombe with the 1123 Waterloo Portsmouth and South East stopping service on the 27th of June 1969. This type of unit first appeared in 1941 and was put into service on the Victoria to Orpington line. They were built with steel underframes and body panels, timber frames supporting a body panels, and with a canvas roof. This generation of 4 subs had dome cab fronts. In that respect were similar to 2 HALs. Woe betide any second-class passengers wanting to use a toilet on this long journey, as this type of stock didn't possess one, It also didn't have any first-class accommodation. Network Southeast Delivery Class 47 number 47707 Holyrood storms away from Woking with the morning Waterloo Exeter service on the 27th of July 1991. Stabled on the upside in Hurdles Road siding are two Class 33s including 33057 and appropriately for the location Class 73/1 Electro Diesel 73134 Woking Homes 1885 to 1985. Conceived by Oliver Bulleid for the Southern Railway's commuter route from London Charing Cross to Dartford, the two double-decker electric multiple units were the only double-deck trains to run on the mainline railway network in Britain. I remember catching one of these trains from London Bridge to Hither Green for a 350 horsepower diesel shunter course with instructor Dave Spud Tate in 1970. Here unit number 4902 prepares to leave Charing Cross with the Dartford via Bexley Heath service in July 1971. The next selection of photographs were taken from Yorkeys Bridge, Guildford, and mean quite a lot to me as I started my railway career at Guildford. The first is of 2 Hal number 2623 running into Guildford from Ascot on the 18th of July 1970. In the background, Surrey University is under construction. The photo reminds me of an incident mentioned in a previous chapter, as it must have been a terrifying experience for the driver of a similar 2-car unit that came down Pinkshill Bank the evening of the 8th of November 1952 when he realised that he had no air to apply the train's brakes and see that he was going to collide head-on with a light engine coming the other way. The driver and 1 passenger lost their lives and 37 others were injured. Class 73 Electro Diesel number E6001 approaches Guildford heading an engineer's service from Woking PAD, pre-assembly depot, consisting of mess vans, track relayer, loaded bogies of prefabricated track and ballast cleaner. E6001 was the first of 6 of the electro diesels to emerge from BR Eastleigh Works during February 1962 and classed Type JA. In the early 1970s, the locomotives were reclassified 73/0 and renumbered 73001 to 73006. The locomotives were such a success, a further 43 were built at the English Electric Vulcan Works with slight differences, numbered E6007 to E6049 and were classed Type JB. Later on, these were also reclassified 73/1 and renumbered 73007 to 73049. The locomotives proved extremely versatile, to the point where many are still in service after a life of over 60 years. This photo was taken at a later date, and 3 2EBBs, numbers 5773, 5771 and 5772, travelled down the new line heading for Guildford Down Bay, with a Waterloo to Guildford via Cobham stopping service on the 14th of June 1983. This certainly takes me back to my days as a driver at Effingham Junction, when I would have quite often have worked over this route. Type 3 diesel electric Crompton D6524 heads towards Sturt Lane Junction's cleared home signal on its way to Waterloo with a passenger service on the 22nd of August 1964. The lower quadrant home and distance semaphore signals on the left of the gantry would allow trains onto the west spur to join the Ascot line to Frimley Junction. A murky morning as the 10:53 stopping service leaves Guildford from platforms 6 and 7 up the gully circa 1965. The train consists of 2 by 2 HAL units, the leading unit being number 2644. The head coach stencil 7 denotes the train is a stopping service to London Waterloo via Woking and will call at Worplesdon, Woking, West Byfleet, West Weybridge, Walton, Hersham, Esher, Surbiton, Wimbledon and Waterloo. Class 33/1's 33119 and 33106 kick up a stink as they propel a 4TC unit out of Basingstoke with the 1212 Salisbury to Waterloo service on the 17th of May 1988. The Western Region's Brown Bovary A1A plus A1A gas turbine locomotive, number 18,000, propelling out of Paddington Station. I saw this locomotive at Reading on several occasions myself in the late 1950s and was nicknamed Kerosene Castle on account of the aroma it always left in its wake. 12-car Portsmouth Express headed by 4-core 3127 passes Peasmarsh Junction with a Waterloo to Portsmouth Harbour service on the 20th of June 1961, just 2 months after I'd started work for British Railways. The branch line to Horsham can be seen on the right of the photograph. The station stops to Horsham being Bramley and Wonersh, Cranley, Baynards, Rudgwick, Slinfold, Christ Hospital and Horsham. The line closed on the 14th of June 1965, 4 months before its centenary, the only Surrey railway closure in the mid-1960s, stripping out known as the Beeching Acts, officially termed the reshaping of British Railways. A Hampshire Diesel Electric Multiple Unit, DEMU, number 1133 runs into Basingstoke on the Downfast line to continue its journey from Reading to Southampton. This DMU was a 3-car set and had a similar cab controls to the 1957 4EPB stock and an English electric 4-cylinder type 4S RKT 600 horsepower engine similar to the one fitted to a Class 73 locomotive. A fine array of semaphore signals for the up lines are displayed on the gantry at the London end of the platform. Midland Pullman's 6-car diesel electric unit at St Pancras Station on the 15th of June 1962. This train had 2 kitchens and in those days a full meal service was provided at every seat. The next photograph shows 3 types of motor power at Guildford in 1968. From left to right, on platform 5, the rear unit of a Portsmouth Waterloo Express formed of a 4-core 3126, on platform 4 displaying a 73 head code and forming the front part of a Waterloo, Portsmouth and South Sea stopping service is 2 Bill 2086. On platform 3, 2 Bill 2152 forms the rear part of a stopping service from Guildford to Waterloo via Woking, and finally on platform 2, displaying head code 55, an unidentified Class 33/0 Crompton leaves with a parcels train to Red Hill. The late John Scrace also took this splendid photograph of Type 3 Crompton D6535 piloting a rebuilt Merchant Navy class with the Bournemouth Belle over the Mid-Hants line in 1966. Trains to Bournemouth were diverted via this line at weekends because of major work between Brookwood and Basingstoke during the Bournemouth electrification scheme. Woking driver Bernie Nibbs, driving Class 47 number 47483, exits St Catherine's Sand Tunnel with a down Newcastle to Portsmouth cross-country service, his next stop being Havant and then Portsmouth. In my mind, the cross-country turns between Reading and Portsmouth that we had rostered at Woking at the time were the most satisfying, as you were nearly always guaranteed the road and the train could be run at line speed throughout. This photo, sent to me recently, brought back all sorts of memories of my time as a driver at Woking MT. On the left of the photograph, taken on Sunday the 15th of March 1981, but not in view, would be the staff car park, and just beyond the cyclists coming to work would be the rear of the kitchen and toilet area of the driver's mess room. The ground floor window of the driver's kitchen proved to be an excellent escape route to avoid letting the train crew supervisor seeing you go home early. The Class 09 350 shunter, number 09010, berthed in the dock, is now preserved on the South Devon Railway. It's a beautiful spring morning and the driver is about to make another perfect stop at the 8-car mark at Teddington using the Westinghouse brake. The 8-car train is headed by Force Sub 4660. This unit was one of the few that had roller blinds fitted as route indicators. The head code 24 denotes that it is a Shepperton service and would call at Fulwell, Hampton, Kempton Park on race days, Sunbury, Upper Halliford and Shepperton. I have to admit that I took this photo of Class 159 number 159002 as it ran into Basingstoke with the Waterloo to Salisbury service as a test shot for the next train to appear, and although the following photo isn't classified as diesel or electric traction, I thought you might like to see it. It was, of course, rebuilt Merchant Navy Class number 35028 Clan Line, as it hauls a rake of Pullman coaches on the Victoria to Salisbury leg of a private charter rail tour on the 14th of March 2007. Regular turns at Woking Mixed Traction were to work stone trains from Woking Down Yard to either Tunbridge Yard, Three Bridges Yard or New Cross Gate. You would then return with the empty hoppers, stroke wagons, to Woking Yard for their onward journey to the stone quarries in the west of England. I couldn't resist choosing this superb shot again of Class 73/1 Electro Diesel number 73101, named Brighton Evening Argus, as she passes Salfords at high speed hauling the Brighton Bell on the 21st of September 1991. In ex-works condition, just after being repainted into Pullman livery to mark the 150th year of the London-Brighton line, the vintage VSOE coaches comprise Xena, Ione, Ibis, Lucille, Vera, Phoenix, Audrey, Minerva and baggage car number 7. Eurostar number 3230 sits beside Eurostar 3003 and is set to depart Guardenor station for its return trip to Waterloo in April 2000. Class 450 number 450062 runs into Brookwood station on a snowy early February morning in 2007 whilst I wait on the down platform for a train to Basingstoke. A social gathering at Woking Railway Club, consisting of a group of Guildford drivers and firemen standing from left to right: George Mickey, Dave Newbury, Dave Salmon, Alan Johns, Malcolm Phillips, Dave Hewson, Brian Ainsley, Mick Foster, Geoff Ball, Len Boxall, Bernie Nibbs, Ray Bartlett, Pat Kinsella, Terry Aylesbury, Brian Sessions, Terry Butwell, Frank Saxby, Lou Waldridge, Bill Tickner and Jeff Sumner. Front row sitting from left to right are Alex McClymont, Fred Garnham, Alan Ackhurst, Derek Gain, Alan Hughes and John Berriman. This dramatic photograph of a Type 3 Crompton outside Stewart's Lane depot with Battersea Power Station towering in the background brings back lots of memories for me of running these locomotives there for fuel whilst being a driver at Woking. Formerly seen regularly working on the Portsmouth to Waterloo Express route, 4 Buff number 3077 has been demoted and is seen here at Ascot with a Reading to Waterloo stopping service on the 5th of December 1970. Following my first day's driving turn on the 7th of September 1969, working a 12-car train with this stock, comprising 4 Core 3102 plus 3158 and 4 Buff 3087, I regularly worked the 4 Core units over the Guildford Ascot via Aldershot line whilst I was working as a past second man at Woking. Class 455 units numbers 5710 and 5716 working Surrey line services are reflected perfectly following a cloudburst at Clapham Junction on Thursday the 13th of June 2019. It's working at its busiest as Class 455 number 5870 runs into the central dead-end platform as a Class 444 and Class 159 wait their turn. There was always a joke going around in the steam days that if Hitler had ever invaded London, he would never have got past Woking. Class 47s, or the remains thereof, and EMU clothing stock stacked up at Vic Berry's scrapyard at Leicester on the 26th of August 1990. Class 47 number 47113 has just been withdrawn after an accident at Ripple Lane in 1988. Talking of scrapyards, here I am with some of my fellow trainers from OTC Southside at a reunion in November 2012, 10 years ago. Back row from left to right, myself, Tim Morgan, Eric Harris, Derek Gain, Eric Christian and Bernie Byrne. Front row from left to right, Fred Johnson, Ken Norris, Don Ottingham, Cyril Sweet, Mick Oakley and John Rutter. Sadly, 5 of these gentlemen have now passed away and gone to that great engine shed in the sky. Guildford station and town in the evening sunlight, looking in a southerly direction, taken from a balloon that my dad and I were travelling in for his 70th birthday in 1988. Notice all of the trains shown, with the exception of a diesel mechanical multiple unit, DMMU, forming a Red Hill Reading service on platform 8, are EMU Slamdog, 1957 HAP and 1963 Volvette stock. The passometer, walkway, across the station which links Guildford Park Road is also receiving a facelift. Gone now from this aerial view is Guildford Panel Box in the foreground, and the train crew and BT police accommodation has also been demolished, and a number of other new buildings are being constructed on what was the car park to the left of the photograph. I'd just taken delivery of my 3rd self-published book, Rambling Railwayman's Recollections, and it was decided to have the book launch at Guildford Museum on the 22nd of November 2014. Like my 2 previous book launches, I was again helped out by family members. My niece's husband, Paul, with the sandwich board in the High Street, and brother and sister-in-law Dave and Carol, and nieces Gemma and Amy, helping with sales, and not forgetting my wife Pauline in charge of the refreshments. I'm pleased to say that the book launch that day proved to be very successful, and as all of my books have now been sold, I thought it would be a good idea to place the books on YouTube, this being my final chapter. I hope that you enjoyed the series and appreciate all the kind comments that have been posted, which has made it all worthwhile. I will be adding further content to my YouTube channel in the not too distant future. Many thanks.